Good morning, everyone. The hour of 8 a.m. having come and gone, the House Judiciary Civil Committee shall come to order. Clerk, I am in receipt of replacement letters from Speaker Welch, replacing permanent member Hoffman with temporary member Avalar, and replacing permanent member Didich with temporary member Morgan. And with that, please call the roll.
Gahn-Dershowitz.
Present.
Canty. Here. Ugasti. Here. Buckner. Present. Davis. Delgado. Here. Freeze. Here. Fritz. Here. Jimenez. Present. Jones. Here. Katzmull. McLaughlin. Olacall. Here. Reich. Here. Tarver. Present. Vella. Here. Weber. Here. Williams. Here. Morgan. Here. Avalar. Here.
With 17 members answering the roll, we have a quorum. On the order today, we have House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4508, House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4262, House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4702, and House Floor Amendments 1 and 2 to House Bill 4649. Is Representative Grassi with us this morning? Good morning. Rep, you are recognized to present on House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4508 whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chairwoman and committee. I'm happy to be here today, and I know everybody says this is a simple amendment or simple bill, and this truly is. Amendment for House Bill 4508 actually includes registered nurse to the list of medical professionals who are able to write a note verifying that someone is physically unable to get to the courthouse to apply for a marriage license. I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. I just want to note on the amendment, we do have two proponents, which include Debbie Broadfield with the American Nurses Association and Ellen Byrne with Illinois Palliative Care. Not seeing any opposition. And I just wanted to move to questions from members unless you have additional testimony to present this morning. Okay, then we'll go to questions. Do we have questions from members? Spokesperson Ugasti is recognized.
Just one quick question. Why not require a doctor or the other people you had before? Why now do we go to nurses? Should we just have anyone at the facility certified?
No, actually, a good question. I'm happy to clarify. All those other people, all those other medical professionals are still included. There was a drafting unintentional omission of registered nurses. So the registered nurses let me know that for some reason their profession was not in the list, and this amendment is to add them. So everybody else still remains the same.
Spokes, do you have a follow-up question, or is that answer? Okay. Vice Chair Canty is recognized.
Thank you. Representative Grassi, thank you for bringing this forward and for making the clerical edit to the bill as well. Please add me if I'm not already on it.
Thank you, Rep. Canty.
Clerk, please add Representative Jed Davis to the roll. Do we have additional questions from members on the amendment? Seeing no further debate, Representative Jimenez moves to recommend that House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4508 be adopted. Is there leave or partisan? Partisan leave being granted, there being 12 votes in favor, 6 votes opposed, 0 voting present. House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4508 is recommended for adoption and will be favorably reported to the House floor. Thank you, Rep.
Thank you, committee.
Clerk, please add Representative Katzmull to the roll. And that brings us to House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4262. Leader Tarver is recognized to present whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Seeking leave to present from my chair.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. You'll remember I had this bill before us maybe a month or so ago, and there was some opposition. The general impetus of the bill is to protect children from there being hidden cameras in areas where they might reasonably expect privacy. As you all know from the last time we discussed this, there is, a criminal statute related to this, but not a civil statute. There were some concerns, particularly with ACLU, as well as the Hotel Association, about some potential unintended consequences. So worked with them to address those concerns. I've not checked the witness list, but my understanding is that they are not in opposition to the bill anymore. I will say I've had a couple subsequent conversations, and there'll be a need to likely address a couple concerns as far as, through legislative intent is what I would say. I don't think there's necessarily a need to change specific language. For instance, someone brought me a concern that there may be a changing table in a general area at a daycare, and wanted to make sure that that would not be something that would subject someone to liability. Obviously, I don't think that, that is an area where someone would have a reasonable expectation of privacy, but I also don't want any unnecessary unintended consequences. So those types of things I'm willing to read into the record as far as legislative history. I will say lastly that I had a conversation recently after this amendment with an individual who represents some townships and counties about a couple of their concerns. I don't know that I have specific language from them, and I'm not a fix-it in a Senate type of a person, but I will say I did not commit to bringing back multiple amendments, so I would like to move this forward. I'll continue to have a conversation with them, and certainly I think I've had a reputation for working with folks, and I'm not looking to jam anybody up, but I'm also not looking to hold a bill into perpetuity. Happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you, Leader. I just want to note on the record on House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4262, we do have 213 proponents. These include A.J. Bailey with the Illinois ACP, Carol Davis with the Illinois Conservative Union, David Smith with the Illinois Family Institute, and a number of individuals. Spokes, may I have leave to waive the reading of the individual slips in support? Thank you. I do see slipping with no position include Keenan Irish with the Illinois Hotel and Lodging Association, and Stephen Reagan and Kadeen Bennett with the ACLU of Illinois. I see one individual slipping in opposition. Do we have additional questions from members or testimony? Leader Tarver, just before we go to questions from spokesperson Ugasti, did you have anyone seeking to be recognized?
I don't. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, and we'll go to questions from members. Spokesperson Ugasti is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Leader Tarver, just a quick couple questions. The people who will get sued if the camera is found, I see it says person or entity. The primary liability, of course, will be on the person who placed the camera, I assume, correct?
That's correct. Ironically, in between the last time I was here and today, there was an article about a manager at a TJ Maxx who installed a camera in the dressing room. It would not be automatically that TJ Maxx is like some strict liability because this is your employee, now you're liable. This is, that individual knew he was installing the camera. Now, if for some reason TJ Maxx, I don't know anything about TJ Maxx in this instance, but if they somehow sanctioned or said, hey, manager, go install this camera, then they would still potentially be liable.
Okay.
But the impetus is, the effect of it, is to hold the individual liable.
Okay.
Now, in some instances, that individual may be the owner of the company as well. And then in that instance, certainly,
Sure.
A single member LLC, they're likely going to be looped in as well.
But liability on the company that didn't place the camera would be under regular theories in law that we have currently, correct?
That's correct. And also, there's a knowingly standard that's been attached So that being the case, again, that entity would have to know this employee was.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Great. Okay, appreciate that. Just wanted to make sure that was clear. And then the last thing I had, the duty for the inspector, is that, or the, not duty, but the inspectors having to look for cameras, is that still in this bill or with the amendment?
It should still be in the amendment. My understanding is that this is at a time when an entity is already inspecting a business for a license, not a separate come out 6 months later or 10 times down the road.
Right, okay, I'm still a little concerned. I'm going to vote to get it out because I like the bill overall. I'm still a little concerned it may be creating a duty on those inspectors and the units of government they work for, and that they could be found liable somehow. And they just won't be trained in knowing how to find cameras. If they're there, I would hope they'd look for them and point them out, but I'm just worried about a duty being created. So thank you.
And I know that wasn't a question, but I'll just follow up and say this. My understanding is that tort immunity still exists in that regard. So we're still talking about a willful and wanton standard, which is a conscious disregard, or the municipality would almost have to purposefully ignore the fact that there was a camera there.
Spokes, does that answer your questions, or do you have additional follow-up? Okay, I think the next person to be recognized for a question was Representative Reich.
Thank you, Chair. Quick question, when you said knowingly, how far does that extend? Knowing or actual knowledge or should have known? I mean, if a guy's got something in his HR file that indicates that there was something in his past that might have given the employer a reason to know that, you know, this guy needs a little bit more looking at, can that extend liability to that employer? Or are you, I think you might have answered the question previously here, but I just want to clarify that, please.
So yeah, it's a strict knowingly standard. And so under that typically is know or should have known. So if you can prove that somebody knew, then, you know, it's not strict liability, but it's certainly not just, if an entity knows, like you said, somebody's personnel file, I would certainly imagine when people are litigating, they're going to say, this person's done this before, they had a history of these types of things, and you still hired them, or you still allowed them to have access to the dress rooms and those types of things. Then I think that entity still could potentially be liable, but it's not because this is your employee, automatically you are liable because they did something that you had no idea they would do. No different than in a situation where if you don't know that your employee is particularly violent and they attack somebody, you're not automatically on the hook. But if you know that Bob Morgan is a UFC trained fighter and likes to punch people, then you might be,
As we all know he is.
you might be liable.
Thank you very much.
Representative Reich, does that conclude your question? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Do we have other members seeking to be recognized with questions or comments? Seeing no further discussion, Representative Delgado moves to recommend that House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4262 be adopted. Is there leave or partisan? Leave being granted on a vote of 19 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 voting present. House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4262. Sorry, we're going to pause for a second. Sorry, Clerk, before I think before we called the roll, we needed to add McLaughlin to the roll. Clerk, can you please add McLaughlin? Okay. So I'm just going to redo the motion. There being no further debate, Representative Delgado moves to recommend that House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4262 be adopted. Spokes, I assume I still have leave? Leave being granted on a vote of 20 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 voting present. House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4262 is recommended for adoption and will be favorably reported to the House floor. We're just going to stand at ease for a moment. I think the clerk wants to just make sure we have everything recorded correctly. We're going to stand at ease. We need to correct the record on House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4508 with respect to ensuring that we had the right number of votes called, given the confusion with the clerk and members on the roll. I think the clerk did not hear Representative McLaughlin initially. So we're just going to stand at ease for a minute and make sure that it's correct. Okay, everyone, we're going to proceed with the next bills. So we're back on the record, and I am going to place Vice Chair Canty in the chair so that I can present on House Floor Amendments 1 and 2 to House Bill 4649.
Thank you so much, Chair Gongershowitz. You are recognized to present.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I have leave to present for my chair?
Leave is granted.
Thank you. So this is on House Bill 4649. This is my elder scam prevention bill. And I think when I last presented to committee, I was still in conversation with the Department on Aging just to make sure that we addressed any of their concerns. So I'm back with House Floor Amendment 1 and 2. House Floor Amendment 1 reflects some technical changes requested by the Department on Aging. It does not change the substance of the bill. It just moves a section into the Code of Civil Procedure, which is more appropriate. And with that change, we have removed any of the concerns by the department. The bill has since been reviewed by the Illinois State Bar Association as well, and it's my understanding that they are in support. House Floor Amendment 2, Madam Chair, is another technical change to give the responsibility of depositing any assessment or fine ordered by the court to the Treasurer's Office and not the Department of Revenue for deposit into the Domestic Violence Fund. And with that change, we have removed any concerns by the Department of Revenue. And I'm not aware of any opposition to the bill, and I'd ask for the committee's support.
Thank you so much. On House Floor Amendments number 1 and number 2 to House Bill 4649, we have 4 proponents, 0 opponents, and 0 with no position. Proponents include A.J. Bailey with the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police, David Eldridge with the Illinois State Bar Association, and Brusha Brewer with the Illinois Department on Aging. Are there any members seeking recognition? Spokes Ugasti.
Thank you. Chairwoman, as far as the bill is concerned, were any changes made to the ex parte hearings that are going to be conducted with either of these amendments?
No, we didn't receive any concerns from any stakeholders on that. It was really just technical changes, making sure that we were amending the correct portion of the statute that the Department on Aging is normally familiar with these types of motions.
Okay, and there's just one last question for me at least. Why is the money going to the Treasurer's Office now instead of the Department of Revenue?
Because that's the way we normally do it here in Illinois.
Okay.
So this is an elder scam prevention bill that was actually modeled off of a similar statute in Florida to prevent elder scams, financial scams, and exploitation. And it was just something that we missed in the original drafting. In Illinois, normally this fines assessed would normally be transmitted from the state treasurer to the domestic violence fund. That's actually what we currently do in statute. So it's just that technical change.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any members seeking recognition? And I'm not aware of any witnesses that seek to provide testimony. So seeing there is no further debate, Representative Tarver moves that House Floor Amendments number 1 and number 2 to House Bill 4649 be adopted. Is there leave? Fantastic. On a vote of 20 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 voting present, House Floor Amendments number 1 and number 2 to House Bill 4649 is recommended for adoption and will be favorably reported to the House floor. And with that, Madam Chairwoman, I will put you back in the chair.
Gongershowitz in the chair. Okay, moving on to the last substantive bill that we have on the order for today. The chair recognizes Representative Katz-Moll to present on House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4702.
Thank you, Chair. As you'll recall, House Bill 4702 was a bill to include ingredient lists on packaging for diapers. We were here previously. We were continuing conversations with industry. We've made a couple of changes to the bill to accommodate the way this is done in other states like New York. We will be having a runoff period for packaging currently on the shelves, and the order that the ingredients are listed is from most to least, with an exception that the very small kind of 1% elements can be in whatever order, as it becomes hard to distinguish at that level. If there's any questions about the bill, happy to answer them, but otherwise this is a good step forward for letting people understand kind of what's in contact with their bodies, especially in areas where you're wearing undergarments. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative. On House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4702, just want to note on witness slips, not seeing any proponents or opponents. I see one slipping with no position, and that's Carlos Gutierrez with the Consumer Health Products Association. Did you have any additional testimony? Or are you ready to move to questions?
Nope, good for questions. Thanks.
Okay, do we have members seeking to be recognized for questions? Seeing no further debate, Representative Olacall moves to recommend that House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4702 be adopted. Is there leave or partisan? Partisan leave being granted on a vote of 13 in favor, 7 opposed, 0 voting present. House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4702 is recommended for adoption and will be favorably reported to the House floor. Thank you, Representative. Okay, now the last item for this morning, I do need to go back and just amend the record on the vote called on House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4508. Clerk, I'm going to redo the motion and then re-announce the vote just to make sure that we're perfectly clear on the record. So on House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4508, there being no further debate, Representative Jimenez moves to recommend that House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4508 be adopted. Spokesperson Ugassi, I believe we had partisan leave on that motion. Partisan leave being granted, there being 12 votes in favor, 7 votes opposed, 0 voting present. House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 4508 is recommended for adoption and will be favorably reported to the House floor. And with that correction, I believe we have concluded the business on the order for this morning. So with that, Judiciary Civil will recess to the call of the chair. Thanks, everyone.